Women deserve to have a supportive network of like-minded women who empower, discover, and embrace her true divinity. We believe when women feel safe, loved, accepted, they feel empowered to achieve their goals and highest values. And this is what we bring to you through our organization. Welcome again to Crystal Within. We are now in our third part of the 12-week challenge. Deanna and I love it that you're sending us feedback, questions. We read it very carefully and making effort that we can give insight to it as we go along. Every time another topic as you're writing us questions before our course starts in January. So this time we picked the topic about environment because you have all kinds of questions, but as Diana and I were talking, we thought creating a foundation for something and watching our environment internally and externally is definitely a very important part. So today, I believe you're starting, Diana, to give us some insight to that, and then I will fill in later.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hilda. Yes, we are very happy that you are here together with us. So some points that was mentioned was some challenges that were mentioned to us, that your experience is people experience clutter. Well, that can mean a lot, but we'll go into the details today. Challenges like self-discipline and building a healthy routine, staying on top of things, in other words, not losing it, and sharing yourself, relieving yourself, which I think that also connects with the topic of self-care that we had last week, but it all interconnects anyways. So all those were challenges that you mentioned, and I think when Hilda and I were sharing about this, it all comes back where a healthy environment is very supportive of that. And first we want to acknowledge that it's probably very difficult to live in the clutter, to live in the chaos, and to really go through that. And often we don't even know how to start, right? How to start a self-discipline, how to start a self-care routine, how to remove the clutter, how to bring order, because there's a lot of stress, there's all these emotions in there, anxiety, afraid of letting go things, and then of course you cannot really, in that state, you can't create any healthy good habit or routine for yourself, because it feels overwhelming, the place that you are in. So today we want to share with you some suggestions and give you a plan of how to create a healthy environment, and an environment that is really supportive of your needs, supportive of your dreams, and supportive of your goals and ambitions and wishes, so that they can actually be fulfilled, and where you can bring order into your chaos and really feel I am in control of my life and I can create it the way I want. And Hilda is later going to share with you about your internal environment, your garden, your internal house, and I would like to share about the external environment. But before I start with that, I just wanted to point out, why does it even matter to create a healthy environment? And as I was reflecting about this, two very important reasons came to my mind. I remembered what I learned from Bruce Lipton. The environment, Bruce Lipton is a cell biologist, for those of you who don't know him, and he did a lot of great research, which we can all benefit from today. So the environment influences who we become. The environment influences who we become. And he made an experiment where he proved that. And the experiment was, he took stem cells from a human being and divided it into two different petri dishes with two different culture mediums. And the culture mediums are to us like the world that we live in. For example, the air that we breathe, the food that we eat, the the water that we drink, the people that we are surrounded by. This is like our cultural medium as human beings. And to those cells, it was at the petri dishes. So we put them in 2 different dishes, and interesting enough, the same stem cells with the same DNA, the same information in there, became muscle cells, and others became, in the other dish, became organ tissue, or what else? Bone cells. And so then the question came up, how can it be? Because it has the same DNA, right? And the only answer that there was is because they are in a different environment. And that teaches us that not like we thought, that the DNA determines who we become, right? First we thought in the past the DNA determines how we look, what we will feel like, the abilities and the capacity of our human body, of our human expression, of our mental capacity. That's what we thought, that we are basically a victim to our DNA and it's not changeable. But the good news with this experiment, what it teaches us is that the environment really shapes us and who we become. And so that means we can have a great impact on who we become by choosing a healthy environment and creating a healthy environment. So that's why it's very important to pay attention to that. And another reason is that when you are in a bad environment where there's lots of clutter and lots of mess and problems, that this is really taking away the energy subconsciously. You might not even notice that, but just think about when you come home and the house is a mess, the kitchen is dirty, the trash bins are overflowing, there's dust everywhere, the laundry is waiting for you, you are hungry, you just come on the couch and you collapse and you just feel, oh my God, all that is waiting for me, and it looks horrible. It just makes you even feel worse about it. And now imagine the other scene. You come home and your house is clean, it smells great, you have beautiful flowers sitting on the desk, and the curtains are clean, the windows are clean, you see the beautiful sunlight coming through, and you come on your couch, you sit down, and you just feel, it gives you peace and calm. It's a big difference, right? So it really influences how we feel, how we think, and eventually also the decisions we make in our life. So when we have all that clutter and all that mess, to every item there is a story attached to that. A story maybe that we didn't let go of, maybe an unresolved conflict, unfulfilled dreams or unfulfilled wishes that we have. And subconsciously that's eating up our energy. And then there's really no energy left for the things that we want to create, for our goals, our dreams that seem so far away, because what we are surrounded by is eating all that energetic space and there is nothing left. So today I want to make very simple, practical suggestions for you that you can follow in the next 12 weeks. You have 12 weeks now before that year is coming to an end. And in that 12 weeks, you can really make a shift in your environment, little by little. And that will really prepare you to start the year amazing and get the most out of the 4-week program, which I hope you will join, because that here is just a kickoff challenge. It's a teaser, it's a preparation, but the 4 weeks is really also going in the works with us, and we will walk you by your hand. So, and to really get the best out of it, you might as well use the time now and clean up a little bit. So also then you will feel more motivated to make a self-care practice, because if you don't have any energy and if you're overwhelmed by the clutter and the chaos and the stress and the conflicts, you have no energy to create any changes in your habits. So that will come as you start to clean up and build a healthy environment. So the practical steps I would like to share with you. There's 3 practical steps. The first one is create a morning routine. And maybe you already have one. Maybe Hilde can share her morning routine with us. And if you don't have a morning routine, then I suggest simply maybe just start with meditation. And nothing fancy, just find a quiet place in the morning, close your eyes for 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and repeat a mantra in your mind. As you inhale, you say, I inhale love. And as you exhale, you say, I exhale and let go. And you really just focus on that and try to embody that. And that's it. Just to start the day and with creating intentionally positive energy in your mind and in your heart. And then step number 2, as you go through your day, try to be a little bit intentional on what you choose to do and not to do. Joy. Joy is a big factor. I know when I don't schedule joy, I can just go throughout my day and my checklist and then feel exhausted in the evening. So I have to schedule in a joy factor, something that brings me pleasure, some excitement, some adventure, maybe even a coffee just by myself, maybe a 20-minute walk, something small that really creates the moments of joy. So don't wait for joy to arrive, but create it and schedule it. And relationships is a big point. Hilda will talk about that. And then also cleaning up your clutter. That's one of my favorite. The society reinforces the idea the more you have, or the more we have, the happier we'll be. And we'll solve all our problems. But honestly, the more I brought into my home and the more I was collecting, I felt really overwhelmed, and I felt also anxious in my cluttered home. And I remember in the beginning of that year, that feeling got very strong, where I started to feel, tighten up, I cannot breathe. I have no space in my own house, even though of course there's space. I have no energetic space. And that was because I was hoarding things for years and years. And so I started the process of minimizing. And that's a great way to make space for what you want in your life. Clean up your clutter. Clean up your possessions. And so I suggest try it out and start once a week with one corner or one closet. And you just clean that up. You go through all your items and you will ask yourself the questions that will be attached in the PDF document. Just 3 as an example. Did I use this item in the last 6 months? My answers to more than 60 or 70%, oh my God, I didn't use that in the last years. Some of them 5 years I didn't use. What the heck reason do I have to hold on to that item then? I can let go of that. And when I looked at my closet, I had so many clothes, and when I was thinking about, well, before I wear this, wouldn't I choose my favorite one instead? And most of the time the answer was also yes. So if I don't even use it because I would choose something else over it, I have no right to keep that item. So I can let go of that. And another big thing is that often is the reason for keeping the clutter is that there's emotional baggage attached to that, right? So asking yourself, for whom am I holding on to this item? Is it really because you want to have it, or because you're afraid to let go of the story that's attached to that? So it's a great way of releasing energy, physically, but energetically also. And really making space for everything that you want in life. And then the third step is just make an evening routine. And you can choose a gratitude journal where you write down one thing that you're grateful for today, or a creation journal, which is you write something down that you want to create. What do you want to experience next day? How do you want your meeting to look like? What do you want to do next month? What do you want to experience? Just write it down. Or you take time to work on your goals, like I do. I have my morning routine where I do my self-care and my healing work, and in the evening I work on my business, work on my goal, on my passion. I start to write a script for my meditation, or I read an article, I learn something. So this is how I do it. And these are just some very small things. A morning routine, a very short one, whatever your schedule looks like. Being intentional throughout the day and clear up your clutter throughout the year. Start now. And then have an evening routine. And these are just some external factors. And now I'm very excited to hear from Hilda, because there is a whole other world waiting when we even start that process of decluttering, a world that is internally. And I know Hilda is is an expert in that. And so I'm very excited now to hear about her, what her thoughts are about this.
Well, first, let me say that it is exciting to listen to you because you are describing everything to us in such colorful pictures. You know, I thought, oh, the flowers there that await me when I come home, and the sunshine coming through. It is, to me, it is inspiring. Listen to it like that because I catch pictures. I remember that it's like a Kodak moment, and then I walk around with it and try to live up to it. So you asked a question, you said, oh, you know, maybe Hilda will talk about her routine, morning routine. I want to say to that I have a long list, and I, for a long time, would feel guilty because there's no way that I could do all these things that are on the list that we hear as suggestions.
Yeah.
And that is a point I wanted to bring up. You know, I thought, oh, I have to everyday journal, or I have to stretch every day, or I have to, you know, a certain routine and put all this in, or write down my grid of, you know, emotions, all the emotions I want to have during the day, and affirmations and lofty questions and so on. So you will learn all these things throughout our course, but I want to make everybody aware of it, that we need to even go into ourselves, be in the core, and in the moment see what do I pick from that list.
Exactly. It's a good.
So not necessarily that I want to say here, you know, what my morning routine is, because it might be different every day. The most important thing, I think, is that we are present to ourselves, that we have self-awareness, that we feel what it is, that maybe some days journaling is too much work for me, and I would rather just sit and listen to music, or yeah, things, anything, you know, that would bring me peace, would center myself, joy, and where I can go prepared into the day. So I know you're very intentional and an amazing woman, Diana, and I do. So I want to talk a little bit more about the internal preparation. But before going there, I do want to say that in 2000, all this was clutter. I mean, who does not have clutter, right? And even if we live, I just moved, there was no clutter in here 2 weeks ago. And today is a day where I thought, oh, I'm going to walk through my house, and I remove things that I really already collected and I don't need, or I don't want to see them. I don't want to have them outside. So clutter is everywhere. And it reminds me of the book, Take Time for Yourself, by a famous coach, Cheryl Richardson. She was on Oprah in 2000. And then Oprah took her on a world tour. That was, I think there's 42 or maybe 52 weeks in it of topics and suggestions. So she's saying focus every week on something else. And of course, our course will be that we every month focus on something else and go deeper into this. But what she said was, when we remove things, give them away, as you said, Diana, then the universe has no empty spaces. So something else needs to move in. And she said, when you give away, blessing moves in, clarity moves in, order, balance moves in. And this is, I think, what we want to strive for in our course. So my topic here would be that I also want to ask, what is in our internal closet? You know, what do we have in our drawers, in our mind, in our heart? What is in there? And the things that we usually pull out when we are stressed, when we are triggered in relationships, is the negative things. So we pull out the immediate reaction of, oh, it must be somebody else's fault that I'm unhappy, or that I'm tired, or that I feel sick, or I want to blame. And of course, we also have this famous, the self-judgment. I must not be enough. That's why I'm not happy, that's why I'm not living as successful as others, and so on. So since many of you asked the question about relationships, we wanted to take that moment to say we need to build a foundation for a relationship, and that foundation is within ourselves. That's what the topic is today, creating external clarity and also internal clarity. Why don't we ask ourselves the question, what am I familiar with that always creates chaos, negativity, self-judgment, or blaming others? And ask or write down those things and sit with that in stillness, journal about it, and see what it is that we could get rid of. I don't want to inspire necessarily deep therapy here, but we can do it in a very soft way, to just acknowledge and embrace. That's something we want to teach in the course, or we want to experience together, that we tell our story, that we recognize, acknowledge those things, and let go of the guilt about it, but rather embrace and come to self-acceptance and self-love. And I definitely believe that as we are in a group of women, that we also will experience the love of the others, that we are accepted and embraced. And that part, of course, is very healing. That we are there and have wise women around us who take us just the way we are, give us feedback, and help us to become our best version of ourselves. So as a homework, so to speak, or like Diana said, get ahead of the game before we all come together for a course in January, see how you can create external beauty and clear out clutter. And in my case, I want to say, take time, sit down, and see every day, what was it that triggered me? How did I respond to it? What is it inside of me? And instead of blaming, hating, judgment, these things, embracing, and ask our soul, what is it that you need? How can we feed ourselves? What can I do? And that relates to the joy that you were talking about, creating joy every day, Diana. How can I love and feed myself so I have the full love tank I need in order to improve the relationships? Those were your questions. This or that relationship, what can I do? We absolutely need self-confidence and self-awareness, skills and self-love in order to step beyond ourselves and create healthy relationships. Thank you for being here. I can just imagine you sitting in your environment and wondering what flowers you can put somewhere, or where you can get rid of dust and clutter, extra things, and at the same time feed your soul and wonder what you can let go of the negative familiar responses to life and relationships. So a little help I want to give for those who maybe feel that you can't so easily step into your emotions. This morning, I just turned on, as so many times, some songs on YouTube, and I heard this song, "How Can I Survive to Live Without You?" And I thought, well, love songs are always written to kind of in the ache of the other, that the other will complete me. But today when I listened to it, it so reminded me of the lost parts in ourselves. Because in this stressful world as we're living, where go, 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 or do, then we leave parts behind. What you said about creating the joy that is so important and relates to this, how can I sit and really find the lost parts and sing to them, or let the TV sing to you, or the music, whatever, sing to your part. How can I survive to live without you? And I believe it warms our heart. I believe it opens up emotions, and we learn to grieve over the loss and let go, like you were saying, and embrace anything, actually embrace everything.
I think that is very beautiful, Hilda. That is one of the most important lessons that we yet all have to learn, right? Just embrace what comes up. Let go of expectation. Let go of anything, of any judgment that we all put on ourselves all the time on how we should think, how we should act, how should we respond. But just embracing where we are at and just accepting that is very, very healing. Yeah, so we hope that you all could get the one or the other point that was helpful for you. And we are really looking forward to go on this very, I would say, transformational journey together in January, starting the new year. But before we do that, we have an exciting announcement. Next week, we are not having a normal week challenge, but we are going to meet live. Right, so prepare some questions. We will not go in so much detail about the program. It's not really to talk about the program, but it's really a time for you where you can get some more clarity, some more answers on the topics that we have already talked, and maybe something else that came up for you as you go through this challenge, just to get some support along the journey. It's really a great opportunity, so I want to encourage you to really write some questions done before so that you get the most out of that Zoom meeting, because it's not coming every week. Yeah. So we're looking forward to see you, hopefully live. If you cannot join live, of course you will get the recordings, but use please that opportunity. Come on and listen to 40 years of experience from our coachings together and get some answers and some clarity and support that you really need and that you deserve. We mentioned to you the practical steps and that you can take, and as you will start to declutter and go through your old stuff, you will really realize some emotional baggage and triggers coming up, maybe also during the day. And then remember what Hilda said to you. Hilda, would you like to repeat that very shortly? What can they do when it comes up?
To sit still, to journal, right? Or make a list, just write down how you normally respond, what is familiar to you, how you respond to any kind of upsetness in your day or in relationships, and then acknowledge, embrace, let go, and rise to a new level of loving yourself and loving others. Really let judgment go for others and for self. Rising to a new level of loving. That is really what we want to achieve, a different vibration. So we feel better. I feel like there's more oxygen. Oxygen for the heart, if we live with less judgment and more kindness to ourselves and others, then we're in a different oxygen level for the heart.
This is I love these steps. Acknowledge, embrace, and let go. This is the formula. Boy, that's powerful. Thank you so much, Hilda. Let's all work on that, and we can share about next week how that is going and share our stories.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you, everybody, for being here. See you next time live.
Bye-bye.